there last time. I'm sure many of them would have joined today as well. Fine. I think we can just directly go to the topic now. We can just share the PPT and we'll start. Yes.
Yeah, sure. Let me share my screen.
Yes. Before that, I would just like to ask everybody, am I audible? Is it clear? I mean, to everybody?
Yeah,
Yes,
ma'am, you're
ma'am.
audible.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
okay, fine. Okay. So, before that, before we start, before Swapnilji makes everything ready, just tell me, what do you understand by productivity? Any one person can just say, what do you understand by productivity? Why have we scheduled this webinar today? What do you understand by productivity? Anyone can say? Just tell, because writing will take little time. So anybody voluntarily can just tell what is productivity? No, nobody?
Ma'am, when
Yes.
we try to attain or achieve our goal with some set of efficient procedure. So I think
Okay.
that is what we say productivity as per an individual.
Okay, good. Very nice. Okay. Anybody else who wants to try? What is productivity? See, why I'm urging everybody to
Reaching,
participate.
reaching to your goal with an efficient time and some limited resources, that would be counting to be a productive or productive work. It's overall scenarios that in limited or efficient time and limited resource, if we are able to achieve what we have targeted, then that means that we have made that as productive work, and it would be enhanced as productivity.
Yes, very good. Very nice actually.
Wow.
That's a good thing. Yes. Somebody else also wants to say?
In simple words, result of the effort.
Result of the effort. Okay. Yes, it's in a very simple word. You can say that. Yes. See, why the reason why I want this class to be interactive is because in psychology, one term can change everything. Now, let's listen to four words, which in general English mean the same thing: want, desire, need, and requirement. I think in general, talking terms, we actually interchange all of these, okay? But no, they are not similar. There is a little difference, okay? So even the word productivity could actually mean little bit different than what we think, okay? So yes, somebody pointed out very right thing. Productivity is the minimum input, maximum output in the limited number of time, okay, in the limited amount of time, and visible progress, okay. It has to be visible. If it is not visible, like let's say you are following a technique. Let's say you are gift wrapping boxes, okay. You might gift wrap, let's say, 3 boxes in 1 minute. I'm just giving an example. But then I teach you a technique. And then what happens? You can gift wrap now 5 boxes, or let's say 6 boxes in a minute. Has your productivity increased? Please write in the chat box. Has your productivity increased? If earlier you used to gift wrap 3 boxes in 1 minute, I taught you some technique and you now gift wrap 6 boxes in a minute. Has your productivity increased? Please give your opinion. Yes. Okay. So many people here. Yes. Yes. So the answer is yes. Why? Because first is that the input that you are giving is again less, output is more in that much of time what it was earlier, and the output is visible. Okay. So if it is not visible, let's say you are packing 6 boxes, but I am not able to see, so I'll not feel you are that productive. Okay. So this is what productivity was. Okay. So I have a question for all of you, all those who will attend our any further webinar. They will just tell me the difference between these 4 words that I told you: need, requirement, desire, and want. Okay, you can also write it in the group after our webinar is over. I just want to know what is your opinion about them. Okay, so fine. Today we'll go to the 5 techniques to boost productivity, and we are going to the first technique is the Mel Robbins rule. Okay, it is the technique that will first tell you how to start, because if you are not beginning something, it is very tough to actually sustain that. Okay, so you must have heard of a very famous author, Zig Ziglar. He says work begun is work half done. Okay, so similarly, first we have to start. Now sometimes you would see there's a word called procrastinate. I think everybody knows about it. It means delaying things. Okay, you know that you have to do something, but you are thinking, nay, I'll do it next week, maybe after 5 days. Presentation not visible. Not visible. Okay, is it not visible, presentation, to everybody? It's visible to me also.
Visible.
Visible.
Visible,
Yes.
ma'am.
Okay, okay. So whoever who wrote this, Sindhura ji, kindly reconnect. I think there must be some issue at your end, because here it's quite visible. All those who are not able to see it, kindly just reconnect, please. Yes. So where was I? I'm so sorry, I forgot. Yes, I was talking about if you are not getting the motivation to start and you're procrastinating. Okay, if there's a task and you say that, okay, I'll do it next week. Okay, I'll do it, after 10 days, 15 days. Although you know that it is not at all, avoidable. You have to do it. Now, let me give you an example. Suppose you have to submit a project on psychology, and you have been given the entire summer vacation, let's see, and entire month of May you have, and you have to submit it on 1st June, let's say, and the task was given to you on April 15th, let's say. So you have a lot of time, but what you have a lot of time. Now there are 2 options for you. Either you finish it in the month of April, enjoy entire May, or there would be some people who would not do it at all, wait till the last week of May, and then they would finish it with a lot of hurry, lot of tension. Okay, so that delaying period is known as procrastination, for all those people who do not know this word. Now, this procrastination is something that happens to us. There are some people who do it for every task, and there are some people who do it for some task. Okay. Now, if you are interested in something, you will do it immediately. If you are not interested in something, you will keep on delaying it. Okay. So now the Mel Robbins rule, what does the rule say? First, I'll explain it to you a bit, and then we'll go to the presentation. Mel Robbins is a lady who found out this technique. She says that suppose you have an idea of doing something, or you have an event, or you have to just do something. Let's say you have to go for jogging. Okay. And then in the morning when you wake up, you actually have to wake up, then change your clothes and into your exercise clothes and then go. She says that many people don't go because they think, "Arey yaar, just one day I'll miss, tomorrow I'll go, pakka I will go tomorrow." She says when you get a thought to do something, until the time thought continues, it is just a 5-second window. This 5-second may your brain has 2 options: ya to go ahead with the idea, or just kill that idea. So if you don't get yourself ready in that 5 second, then definitely you will not be able to start the work. So that's what she says, that whenever you have to do something, you have to start something, just give a message to your brain of 5 seconds and just count backwards: 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. 0 is when you start. So it is just a rocket launching or a missile launching when they count backwards. Okay, like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So what is the basic logic about it is, since the window of that idea to sustain in your mind is just for 5 seconds, and the more you practice it, your brain knows that I just have to defeat my procrastination in this 5 seconds, and then I can start. That is number 1. Number 2, once you do this over and over again, your mind is trained to to overcome that 5 second of delay, or that 5 second of inertia that you have. And the next is, when you are counting backwards, your excitement is always more. Okay, when you are you would be very familiar when New Year, when we are on the New Year Eve on let's say December 31st, and the moment it's about to hit 12 and the countdown begins, that is counting backward begins, like 10, 9, 8, you're very much excited to reach that one. So that is what even Mel Robbins says, that whenever you want to do something, the moment you count backwards, your one side of the brain saying that don't do it, your one side of the brain gets very excited, no, let's do it, because we are now reaching the final point of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and start. So that's the 5-second rule to first get you started. Okay, so let's say, how would you do it? Let's try it for exercise only. Okay, suppose you wake up in the morning, you have set your alarm at let's say 5 o'clock. Let's take a standard time, 5 o'clock, and then the alarm goes off at 5. Many of us will snooze it. She says even for snoozing you can try this technique. Okay, so let's say at 5 it goes off, and then you'll just have those 5 seconds to decide whether you want to go for jogging today or whether you want to sleep again like yesterday, let's say. So you just decide, okay, I have to wake up right now, and let me just count backwards. Let me just, use this 5-second rule and just wake up. So you just say, okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So when you are counting backwards also, your mind needs more focus. The moment you are more focused, your entire energy is on the work and not on sleep. That is also one thing. So the moment you will count backwards, you will get energized, you'll get up from bed, and the moment you have woken up. Yes, am I visible to everybody? Sorry. Yeah, is it clear? I mean, I just lost the connection somewhere.
Yes, you are audible
Presentation
now.
is
Yes.
audible.
Okay. Yes. So they say that the moment you wake up and then you count backwards, and the moment you are out of bed, you will definitely that day go and attend your exercise session. Okay, so it's exactly like what I told, the work begun is work half done. So the moment you have begun and the moment you have stepped down of your bed, now your work has begun, and now it is half of the work done, and definitely you will do it. So this is the 5-second rule. I really urge everybody to try this. I mean, in your personal life, it can be a very, very good booster. And I'll tell you a very good story. There was a very old man in our neighborhood who was very fond of pan. I think everybody knows what pan is, right? Pan, betel nut. Okay. He was very, very famous of. He was very, very fond of, sorry, pan. And but the doctor had told him that don't eat pan because pan contains tuna and all of that. And then doctor told that no, don't eat. But he was so adamant of having it every day. So what his grandson did is that he got a small box dabba. He put few pan in that in the morning and told that Dadaji, let's play a game today. So Dadaji told, okay, let's play. What's the game? He told that today the game is between you and pan. If you eat the pan, then pan will win. If you don't eat the pan, then pan will lose. So today at 6 o'clock, we'll see who has won and who has lost. Now, see, it was long ago since, the Dadaji had ever played any game or anything. So he gave his best. And in the first day, he did not eat any pan. Second day, he did not eat any pan. This continued. And over 15-20 days, he totally left that habit. So similarly, if we train our mind to use this 5-second rule, you will see in whatever things you are lacking and you feel, oh, it's so tough to start, you will have an amazing start. And I really sincerely request everybody, please try it. And after 4-5 days or 10 days, if you have used it in every aspect, in every field, in every work, just let me know. Okay. And I think everybody knows we take 21 days to form a habit. So you can just do it for 21 days and update us how it is going for you. But this is a must if you have to start doing something. Okay. So we have started. Now let's move to the next one, next technique. We'll go to the next technique. Yes, the next slide. Yes, Swapnil ji, please move to the next slide.
I have changed it on my end. I don't know.
Oh, it's
I'll
not.
try to reshare it. Okay.
Yes, yes, please.
I will.
Yes, yes, I got it now. Yes.
Oops,
Okay,
there
we'll just
was
take one.
delay.
Yes, yes, it's clear now, Swapnilji. We'll just take 1 minute. Did everybody understand the 5-second rule? You can just write a yes so that I know. Or if you have any doubts, we can just take it now. Yes, you can just write yes, yes, yes. I'll understand. Okay, okay.
So Rumanaji, I have a question or probably means is it something that it is kind of a countdown and means we have been trained to look at the countdown in certain way, so that's why this technique works. So five, four,
Yes.
three, two, 1, 0, then suddenly means we are alert.
Yes, absolutely. See, Swapnilji, I do not. I would love to give you a background of deductive reasoning and inductive reasoning, but since that will take very long, I'll just summarize the entire thing into one. Whenever you are going to the unknown to the unknown, it is very tough for you. Very tough. Whenever you're coming from the unknown to the known, it is very easy for you, right? Now, see, if we would do from 1 to 5, it would be going to the unknown because the largest number is still not known. That is why you always have ranking as the number 1 is always the best. You can never know what is the highest number to be the best. Okay. So similarly, countdowns and counting backwards, they need a lot of focus, and also they excite, they build up excitement much more. So that is why it is counted backwards here, and that is why it can be achieved in 5 seconds. So maybe that is why she has used it. Yes, is that okay?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, okay, yes. Okay, now we'll go to the Feynman technique. This is a very good technique. Now we just learned previously that how to get started. Now suppose you have started something. Now you want to learn something. Let's say you want to learn something or you want to use your expertise in something. So how do you build your expertise? So let me ask you something. See, everything that you learned once or learned at least once in your life was a very mysterious thing to you. Okay, like let's say if you have learnt about any psychological concept, or let's say any sociological concept or any concept, um, you very less chances are there that you would have understood it in the first go itself. But then yes, your interest was there, you must have worked hard and you would have learned. So now the Feynman technique says that suppose you want to know about something. Let's say nowadays the most common topic would be, let's say, coronavirus. Okay, that's the most COVID-19 is the most common topic. Now I'll tell you my example. Since Swapnilji also mentioned that I work in a very rural environment, and here there are people who hardly go out because it's a very tribal dominated area. So when I had to explain those same people that wear a mask and maintain social distance, that was very very different from them, for them. And they just told me that why should we maintain social distance? What is social distance? We have always stayed together, and this is not a way of life. And it was so tough to explain it to them. Okay, so similarly, if you, let's say, want to explain a topic to somebody, so use Feynman technique. What is Feynman technique? First they say, pick up a topic. Let's say you have come to my area and as a counselor, and I have appointed you as a counselor, let's say, for explaining uh, effects of coronavirus to these rural people, let's say. So first what you do, you pick up a topic. Okay, you pick up a topic. What that topic is, effects of coronavirus deaths. Okay, or effects of coronavirus. Now you try and gather information about it, whatever information you have, let's say from the newspaper, from TV, from talking to people, from actually going to the field and seeing it. And you try to assimilate all that information within yourself. आप खुद वो चीज समझने की कोशिश करते हैं. And then you find somebody who is totally unaware of that topic. Let's say you find a rural person who's totally unaware of it. You find a child, or you find somebody, a very old man who does not even know what is going on in the world right now. and you try to explain him that same concept in the simplest of language. Okay, suppose you hold a child, you take hold of a child and you explain it to him. तुम्हें कोरोना वायरस पता है? Then now the child will say, नहीं मुझे तो नहीं पता, I do not know. Then you explain it to him. Okay, there is a virus like this, it comes, and if it just if it affects you, this is what happens. उसका vaccination नहीं है. Then he might just ask you vaccination क्या होता है, and so many other things. Like let's say you take 10 minutes to explain it to him, and then during your explanation you find out that he has not understood much. He has just understood 50-60%. So now you know that you have to even simplify. You again simplify, you find out these gaps, and you again simplify. Again you explain. If there is any gaps, again you simplify, again you explain. And this goes on till whatever you have assimilated, the maximum of it. Maximum can be your maximum. It can be 85%, 90%, even 100%. Whenever you have achieved that 100% in explaining a person a certain concept which you was totally unaware of, that time you be sure that even you have understood the concept well. So this is Feynman technique, and this is very, very useful, especially when you are working with clients, whenever you are working in a counseling setup, etc. Because many a times you have to explain them why this is happening with them. Okay, because they keep asking you questions. Why does this happen to me? Whatever is happening to me, is this something very new? Is this something that only I am going through? In this Feynman technique, if you learn a lot of concepts, then it is very much easy for you to just talk to somebody and come to the simplest of explanations, because the entire field of psychology revolves around how simply you can understand a person and how simply you can make a person understand, both ways. Okay, so this Feynman technique is an absolutely great thing. Okay, and here I would just like to add one more technique of Scientology. I do not know if everybody is aware of Scientology or not. It is a very famous school of thought in the West, Scientology. One of its major followers is actor Tom Cruise. I do not know if everybody knows about it. Now, Scientology has a great course called the Technology of Study. There they mention about one thing, that whenever while studying you encounter any misunderstood word, matlab any word that you do not know the meaning of. Bahut baar hota hai na, whenever we are going through the article, we find some word. Now let's say we find some word known as, I saw this scene and I was flabbergasted. Now, many people will not understand what is flabbergasted. Flabbergasted means totally surprised. Okay, so what they will do, that flabbergasted word they will not look up in the dictionary, and they'll keep moving forward, and then your entire mind will be you can say will be a box of misunderstood words. So all misunderstood words will pile up, and whatever concept you were supposed to learn, that also you will not learn. So if you add this removing misunderstood words, or clarifying misunderstood words along with Feynman technique, I think it would really work wonders for you. And also you can actually think of while talking to your clients, let's say, or while talking to students, if anybody of you is actually working as a psychology faculty or something, I think this will be great for you. Okay, so this was the Feynman technique. So did everybody understand this? Please write. Yes, Neetu Rani wants to say something. Yes. Yes, Neetu Rani wants to say something. She raised her hand. Okay. Okay. Yes.
Ma'am, myself Shiv Kumar. Actually, I have also attended your first seminar, that is stress. It was very wonderful one. Yeah, I am also again joining, and again it is also very interesting.
Thank you so much.
The first, actually, I lately attended, and first one is I'm little I'm not able to attend fully because I was on another webinar. And ma'am, I want to tell something about here. It's not my doubt, actually, the Feynman technique.
Yes, yes, please go.
It gives me a new insight. One is that being a teacher, before I'm talking about psychology, I want to put two things.
Yes.
So when you are teaching something, actually, especially this technique is uh, very helpful for the teachers. Those who
Yes.
want to, like, innovative teachers, like it's not like routinal teachers. So those who want to explore themselves, even if you keep teaching, really you involved in the subject, you give again new insight. When you are teaching, if you are really a good teacher, when you're teaching something, you are not only just teaching, you are also learning at the same time.
Yes.
So it gives you a better insight, and those teachers are active teachers. Those who are really want to give something, that they are always keep working. But in
Right.
Fleeman technique, it is also giving more wonderful technique. What they are saying is you have to teach those who are like a child, those who don't know.
Yes.
And it
Yes.
really explains not only our problem solving techniques and also how to organize ourselves. So it gives you
Yes.
comprehension. It gives the idea of comprehension, like how to comprehend those who don't know anything or even know very less.
Yes. Yes. Definitely.
It's really
Yes.
wonderful technique actually, and every teacher, irrespective of their level,
Yes.
it can also apply in your higher education level also.
Yes. Definitely. Why not? Yes.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Yes. Yes, so as Shiva Kumar sir told, very good. Yes, Feynman technique can be really used in. It can be used for teachers, for counselors, even for people who are taking train, who are giving training to a group of people. Because the moment you are clear of the concepts, only then you can help people get more clarity on the topic. Okay, so this was one Feynman technique. Now we'll come to another thing that is again very useful, that is known as the Pareto principle. So we'll go to the Pareto principle. Yes. So Pareto principle again is something that we must try in our lives, and it will help you with a lot of time. Okay, it will save your time. It will save you lot of time actually. So they say that you take just मान लीजिए in your entire day you are doing 10 activities. Out of those 10 activities, there would be 20% of the activities which would give you 80% result, and there would be 80% there would be 20% of the activities which would give you 80% result, and there would be again 80% of the activities which will give you just 20% of the result. So they are saying, first of all, whenever you are going to do, now let me just tell you how, I mean, I do not know how many of you follow this, but let's assume that everybody here has a to-do list. Okay, what is a to-do list? Let me explain. To-do list is, in the morning you sit down and you actually make a list of what all works you have throughout the day. तो मान लीजिए you have 10 works. Okay, तो उस work में क्या क्या है, let me just make a fictitious to-do list for you. So let's say first work is to make make breakfast, number one. Number two again is call whom, call some repair mechanic, somebody, let's say. And third again, attend this meeting. Fourth is something is tarah ke, suppose you have 10 works on your to-do list. Okay, so while you are making that list, what Pareto principle states is, फर्स्ट यू सेग्रीगेट मतलब क्या करना होता है, सेग्रीगेट मतलब आप अलग कर लीजिए. ओके, तो यू सेग्रीगेट which are the most time consuming activities giving you less output, and which are the less time consuming activity but giving you more output. Now here one problem here would be, or one small criticism would be, for every person it would be very subjective as to what is the most effective. For many people, the most effective work or the most important work of the entire day is to have breakfast on time. Really, believe me, many people, especially all those people who are into yoga, meditation, and all of these things, they believe that having breakfast at the right time is the most important thing you can do in a day, while many other people feel that arranging your meetings in terms of importance and priority is the most important thing, and food is something which can be eaten while you are driving also, while you are walking down the stairs also, while you are sitting and planning your meeting also. So that is little subjective, but let's say let's leave it to you. Let's leave it to you as to what is most important for you. But what the Pareto principle says is, first what you do is you find out the activities which will give you 80% benefit. First you do those, and then you leave the 20% wala, because you will see the 20% wale what is left out, that will be your least priority ones, and whatever is the least priority ones, they can be carried over to the next day also. Okay, so this was all about the Pareto principle. So anybody can just tell me in the chat box, what are those regular activities in that entire day which you think needs minimum effort but gives maximum result. So we can just have few responses in the chat box. I hope everybody got my question. You give the minimum effort, but you get the maximum result. Meditation, small nap. Yes, very good answer. Yes. And some more. Think a bit. Little breaks in between. Okay. Very nice. Very nice.
Studying also.
Okay. Yoga, workout. Very good. There's one more task nobody's talking about, but there's one more task. Yes, sorry, yes.
Wake up early.
Wake up early. Very good. Very good.
Ma'am, I want to put one task here, one question. Like
Yes.
the routine itself, very interesting activity. If you see what actually happens is many people layman language, routine is for layman language is just routine. But as if you take in psychological context, routine itself is also hinder our behavior. It is also attached with our behavior. So
Yes.
on this context, we can categorize here in that is also one category. Yes, of course, quantifying this a little difficult, as you already rightly said. But we can also categorize two things as my observation. There is a two thing kind of works involved in this humanity, like human being. One is that
Yes.
the work is who you involve, totally involved.
Yes.
The another one is you are not involved at all, no matter how it is, it take less time or more time, but you involved, that is the perception of time is different, but you are not involved, the perception of time is different.
Right. Yes, that's right. That's true. That's true.
Yes.
What you're saying is right. That's also one perspective, and that's also one way to look at it. That's right. Yes. So we have got a few responses here. Yes. Many people have written breathing, breakfast, planning, dance, morning study. Wow, very good. There's one more thing that nobody talked about here, but it's very important. I literally have to recommend this to everybody. Kindly, the most time-taking task, I'll tell you of the two tasks. The most time-taking task is all those people who wake up in the morning and start looking at their social media accounts and phone and everything, and they think that I'll just scroll a bit for about 5-10 minutes, just see what are the important messages. And by the
Yes.
time they leave their phone, it is more than 30 minutes, 40 minutes. Does it happen with you? Yes, does it happen with you people?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, so that is a low priority task. Okay, I'll give you a very small example of my own personal experience. When I was studying for my exams, for my this exam through which I got into this job, um, I had made it a point, because I started introspecting where am I giving a lot of time. Although I was not although I'm not on social media, but then since I was a counselor that time, I used to get many questions on my personal windows, like what I'm suffering from this, I'm feeling like this, what should I do. And when I used to sit and answer to each one of them, and let's say if I wake up at 6:30, by the time I leave my phone, it would be 7:45 to 8 o'clock. And there were those type of conversations that never had a full stop. I mean, even if I would say that, okay, then thank you, this is what you can do, Then after 5 minutes, I'll get another message. Ma'am, after that, what can I do? So later I realized this is where the 80% of effort goes and 20% of the result comes. Okay. So now I twisted and I turned that entire thing into the 80% result and 20% of time. So what I did, I started segregating, or you can say I started making my entire day into 4 quarters. Okay. So I did this, that morning I will totally not look into my phone, since I never was in a job that time. So I never had those urgent emails or anything that you people might have. So what I did, since I made a time that from 10 to 10:30 only I will check my phone, and whichever are the most important messages, let's say from families or friends, I will reply. And whoever are these people, who are seeking any help or asking any questions, I'll just write to them one sentence or one line replying to them. And then I'll write that if you have any further issues, you can write all your messages at once and I will reply. And then my next from 10 to 10:30 was one part of mine. The next was from 1:30 to 2. And one more was from 5:30 to 6. And last was from 8 to 8:30. So when I did this, I realized instead of spending 4 to 5 hours on phone, I used to spend less than 2 hours, or maybe 1.5 hours at the max. So there I realized that it is again 20% effort, but 80% result. Does this happen with you? Can we all try this sometime? At least if not the entire week, can we try this on weekends? Okay, we can have more of time for our families. Many a times I see people are going out for dinner, people are going out for events, and they're still on their phone. When somebody wants to talk to you, you're still replying. That happens. I mean, I'm not saying that it's a bad thing or something. We are so much tied down, because once a conversation start, it continues, and it's very tough to actually put down the phone. So can we actually do what I just suggested, this breaking your day into quarters? If you are a working professional, I understand it's very tough, but at least on weekends, can we do this? Can we have any
Yes,
responses? Yes.
Ma'am, I would like to thank for you to making aware of this social media. But you are saying that I think it may be 3-4 years back that you are saying your experience. It may be how much year back, madam?
Yes, it is around 2015-16 I'm talking of.
Yeah.
The time.
So from this, even till today, the situation is becoming to the social media, that we can say the junk files and all those things. What my experience, even also a few days when I had to attend some number of webinars. So there are number of contacts in WhatsApp. Actually, I'm saying my experience.
Yes.
What I felt is because I'm being a psychology line, I am aware of that. Compared to layman language people, many people are not aware. As you rightly said, that when you are, it is stimulating behavior. Like once you know that you are less conscious, what are happening, whether they are taking too much time, this media or this mobile and all those things. But I stop all those wasteful, there are some. Unfortunately, they came into our contact and they are not need. They just come and go. So I delete all that contacts and make my WhatsApp file is very clean and neat as much as possible, which are very relevant.
Very
so
nice.
That made me very useful. Right now, my I only WhatsApp contact which are only psychology related.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah,
very
and
nice.
Because even it comes to even that is Telegram. There are number of channels. It making me too distracted, too much distracted. And I came to know how to people are managed. Even this is become even YouTube. See how one can manage a person day as a mobile. It's become an integral part. That it is even coming to the privacy. And you see that after that I felt very good, and at least I felt relaxed. And I all immediately, what we can say, that delete the files. Right now, I'm very clear. I have a very clear mind, and I'm very efficiency. My efficiency is increased a lot. And thank you for making good idea. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Yes, I also want to bring in a very good topic here. What Shiv Kumar ji was talking. Is everybody aware of the word called minimalistic? Minimal, say minimalistic. Is everybody aware of it? Please.
We have one word, minimalistic perspective in environmental psychology.
So basically, what minimalistic lifestyle is about, it is more is less. Or
Very
less
good.
is more. I'm sorry, less is more the other way.
Yes, less is more basically.
More.
Yes, yes, yes. So now, there is minimalistic is something that is the focus of Pareto principle. Okay. Now let me give you an example of all those people who do not understand what minimalistic is. Let me tell you a very small story. It'll just take 2 minutes. Now there was a person who had this very bad addiction of buying clothes. Okay, buying clothes, buying shoes, buying everything in excess. I mean, every week he'll buy something new. And one day he saw that his entire house is actually filled with clothes and shoes and bags and this and that. So he thought, do I really need so much things? So obviously there was no clear answer. So what he did, he packed everything in his house in very big boxes and cartons. Okay, let it be his fridge, let it be his t-shirt, let it be his shoes, his pen, diary, everything he packed, and he sealed them and he packed them. And the next morning when he woke up, all he had to do is reach for the box and then take out the thing that was needed for him. So let's say, suppose in the morning he would go to the carton where he had packed his brush and toothpaste, etc. So he would take that out. He would take out the soap. Suppose he'll take out his clothes, he'll take out his shoes. When he did this for 30 days, he realized that it was just 30 to 35% of things that he needed to lead a good, healthy daily lifestyle, okay, life. Whereas he had so much more. And from there, this entire concept of minimalistic started, that when you have less, exactly now, like exactly to what we started with, from the unknown to the known. When you have less, you know everything about all that you have, and since you know everything about all that you have, the satisfaction level is much more. But imagine you have reached a place where there are majority of the things that you don't know about or you don't remember about, and even if it is there, it is not useful for you, right? So that is what is about minimalistic lifestyle. Now it is a lot, many people are following minimalistic lifestyle these days. And yes, Steve Jobs, Mark Zuckerberg, they used to wear the same kind of clothes because it used to take a lot of time for them. They thought that if we invest so much time in thinking what we have to choose to wear, the next day, it will take a lot of time. So let's have one type of attire for the entire period. So that is what is minimalistic. That is what is also one of the basis of Pareto principle. You do less but have the maximum output, and whatever is taking a lot of time, it is probably not your priority. You can always shift it to the next day. Yes, the more choices you have, less the decisiveness. That's right. Okay, so now we'll go to the next technique. It is a very good technique. It is the technique of actually doing the work. It is known as the Pomodoro technique. I do not know how many of you know about it. We'll go to the next slide. Yes. So yeah, this is again about the Pareto principle only. I have just put it that how you can do the vital task, and then you give the maximum amount of effort. Okay. Now, yes. One back. एक slide पीछे. Yes. Now there is a technique called as the Pomodoro technique. So what does a Pomodoro mean? No, not this one. The Pomodoro one only. इसके बाद वाला. Swapnil ji, the next slide.
Actually, there is a delay, I guess.
Yes, I got it.
There is a delay, actually.
Oh, there is a delay? There is a lag, I guess, right? Okay. Fine, but I can see now the Pomodoro technique, that slide is come.
Yeah.
Okay. So what is...
Now it should...
Yes, I'm able to see. Now, what is a Pomodoro technique? Can anybody tell me what a Pomodoro is? A Pomodoro is basically a tomato. ठीक है? Tomato है ना हिंदी में, that one tomato. So the person Francisco Cirillo, when he was actually when he thought of this technique, he was actually in his kitchen, and he was looking at a tomato, so he just termed it after tomato. He called it the Pomodoro technique. Now, before we go to the Pomodoro technique, I would just like to ask one good question, that whenever you are studying or whenever you are working, do you take breaks? If yes, how much work do you do in a block, and how much time of break do you take? If we can have only 3-4 answers also, it will be okay. 2-hour work, 10-minute break. Okay, okay. Anybody else wants to answer? Oh, there's a poll there, I guess. Yes. Okay, I'll give you 1 minute. Please, all of you, please mark the poll. We will, once the poll is done, after 1 minute, we'll continue. Yes, there's a poll there in the chat. Kindly just respond to the poll. We'll continue in 1 minute. Meanwhile, I'll just see the answers. Okay, 1 hour, 1 to 1.5 hour, then 5-10 minutes break. Okay. Fine. Okay. So coming back to the technique. So what does the technique say? That you choose one work, whatever work you want to do, choose any task, and then set a timer for 25 minutes, because what the person thought is, what Francisco Cirillo thought is, that 25 minutes is an appropriate time to have the maximum focus. Okay, so he says you choose a task and then you set a timer for 25 minutes and you work in that 25 minutes non-stop, without any distraction, without any disturbance. And then just after 25 minutes, you take a break of 3 to 5 minutes, a break, and in those 3 to 5 minutes, do not do anything that is related to the task. Do something which is totally unrelated to the task. Okay, the break should not be a continuation of the task. This is very, very important. Please keep it in mind. I'll share a very good personal example with you. And in the step 5, what you do is you repeat the cycle 3 to 4 times, preferably for 4 times. Okay, and then take a longer break after 4 sessions. Take a longer break of probably 10 minutes. Okay, now when I was doing my studies in psychology, that time I used to have few friends who used to, when we used to do group studies, and then we used to, our preferable time was a 40-minute task hour, and then 10 minutes break, and then 10 minutes question answers. Okay, so and that is how it was for us. Now many of my friends used to be there, because we used to have the question answers after the break. What they used to do is they used to again continue the study in that 10 minute of break that we used to have. So it was just an unofficial observation, but later I and all my other friends also observed, all those people who started doing unrelated works, they used to remember much better. than who again used to do it as a continued study. Okay, now let me tell you what are the unrelated tasks. Since we all used to live in hostel, let's say we used to study for 40 minutes. Let's take a topic. Let's take something like observational learning. Okay, or take a let's take a theory of personality. Let's say we used to study psychodynamic therapy. Okay, and then after, if we have studied it for 40 minutes, and then we used to have a break. The break mein what we used to do, like somebody had to wash clothes, so that person will go and soak the clothes and come back in 10 minutes. Some person has to, fill water from the aquaguard or something, person will do that. Yeah, if somebody has to just, tidy up the bed a bit, or, just arrange the study table a bit. So these were the type of breaks that we used to encourage each other to take. But then there would be at least 2 to 3 persons who used to just, make those short notes in the margin and again go and read it, and try to again answer whenever we used to ask each other questions. And whenever that question answer session would come after the 10 minutes break, all those people who never did anything that was related to the studies, they would perform much better, because that till that time the consolidation would have happened. But all those people who would still continue to, elongate that period of study, consolidation will never happen, because a thing needs to stop to be consolidated. Now let me give you an example. मान लीजिए you have a dabba, okay, you have a small container, and you are pouring sugar, okay, which is very common in your household also. You will see at one point of time the sugar builds up like a pointed cone, you can say. And the more you are going on filling it, the sugar keeps on falling apart, hota hai na? If I'm just explaining it in Hindi, if few people did not get it, मान लीजिए एक डब्बा है और उसमें आपको चीनी भरना है, आप चीनी भरते जा रहे हैं, फिर एक समय आएगा जबकि चीनी एकदम ऐसे कोनिकल शेप का हो जाएगा, ऐसे जैसे पहाड़ के शेप का, और आप भरते जाओगे तो चीनी ऐसे गिरता जाएगा। तो उस टाइम पे हम क्या करते हैं, हम थोड़े डब्बे को से हिला देते हैं, सो दैट इट कम्स टू द सरफेस। फिर थोड़ी सी जगह बच जाती है, फिर आप चीनी डालते हैं। तो इमेजिन ऑल दैट नॉलेज इज चीनी, दैट हिलाना इज द ब्रेक। ओके, अब आप क्या कर रहे हैं, ब्रेक में भी आप दोबारा चीनी ही डाले जा रहे हैं। So will your and imagine you are that container, so will that container take any more of sugar? It will not take. क्या होगा, वो सब बाहर गिर जाएगा। So whatever extra you're trying to learn in that break, that will all evaporate from your mind, sort of that. Okay, so best thing to do is always learn in a block. Here Pomodoro technique suggests 25 minutes, but I personally feel it can be 25 for some, 30 for some. For some person it was 45, the person wrote 45, I do not remember the name. Now if you don't give yourself that unrelated task break, it will never be consolidated. Consolidated का मतलब क्या है, to pile up. Pile up कब होगा, जब किसी चीज कोई चीज खत्म होगी, only then can you pile up something ना। अगर आप कोई चीज करे जा रहे हैं, जब खत्म होगा तभी ना, you will pack it in something and keep. So an unrelated break is very much necessary. So whenever you are following the Pomodoro technique, please keep it in mind that set a timer for whatever minutes you are comfortable, which can be somewhere between 25 minutes to 35 minutes. Take a break, and please do not do anything in the break which was again related to what you were doing. Do something which is totally
खाया है, बैठा ही है, वॉक तो कहीं मतलब
1 minute. Yes. So do something which is totally unrelated. And then after that, once you have done this, you can repeat the cycle. Okay. So this will be very, very important when you are trying to prepare for some exam, when you are trying to learn something, or when you are trying to, prepare something that you are going to present later, because your entire focus will be again for that 20 minutes, 25 minutes or 30 minutes. Okay. So I hope this is clear. Pomodoro technique. We can go to the last technique. That is a very interesting one.
Excuse me, ma'am. Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, please.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, one small doubt actually. I used to do this during my childhood when I prepare for my exams. But one contradictory thing that happens is that I used to be waiting for the break more than that I'll be studying. So, how to manage that, ma'am? Even now when I study for my exams, I feel the same thing. I used to be waiting that 25 minutes I mean, like I was said, like you can study for some 30 minutes and then you take some 5 minutes break. My mom used to say this. So what I used to do is I used to wait, wait that 30 minutes, like just turning all the pages in the book, and then after the 30 minutes, like when the clock goes, I I used to run to my snacks. So that's how I was doing, mom. So how to stop this thing?
Yes, yes. It's very easy. See, there must be two things that is happening with you. First, you are taking up some concept which will not at all get over in 30 minutes. Number one. You might be studying something which will not at all get over in 30 minutes, or maybe your focus time is not of 30 minutes. Your focus time is even shorter. Let's say 10 minutes, 12 minutes, 15 minutes. So what you can do is, without feeling embarrassed, you first sit and know, just introspect yourself, what is my good focus time. It can be even 3 minutes, not an issue, but be honest with yourself. Let's say your focus time is something like, let's say 5 minutes. Okay, fine, it's okay. You take any small concept, or at least you break the concept, so that one part of it is over in 5 minutes. You take 1 minute break after that. Slowly, slowly you practice this. Your focus time will also increase, and you will learn to also enjoy the breaks, but not wait for the breaks. You will learn to enjoy the breaks. Now what has happened is, in the past you had tried a very unrealistic approach. मान लीजिए, let me give you an example. Sorry, Carl Jung. Yes, Carl Jung is one theorist. I think you need to at least have 10 to 15 Pomodoro work blocks to understand his work, because his work is very, very deep. But if I set a very unrealistic target that I'll finish learning about Carl Jung in 40 minutes, definitely I'm not going to be able to do that. If it is a new topic for me, definitely I'll not be able to do that. So please, number one, set very, very realistic targets. Watch your focus. If you cannot complete the task, break the task into such smaller parts that you can complete it in your focus time. And fourth is, always enjoy your break. Don't I would not say that just trade your break for your work. Enjoy your break. Don't yes, it also might happen when you are when you are sitting for study, maybe you're hungry or something. Please have your food and sit and study, because when you are studying, maximum of your energy goes in that, because whenever you're alert, you consume maximum energy of the body. Okay, so please have some food, have be little I can just satiated before you start, and I think this will totally vanish. Just be little realistic in your planning, everything will fall into place. Just try this once, let me know after 7-8 days.
Sure, mom. Thank you so much for that.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Yes. Okay, so now I'm so sorry. I think we just crossed 8 o'clock. I'll just wind up in like 5 minutes. This is also not a very long technique. This is what we need to follow. But this is again something we also might be doing, but maybe we are not aware of it. So what is the Napoleon technique? I think all of you are aware of the great ruler, Napoleon Bonaparte, right? So he had a very good technique of handling urgent work and not so urgent work. What he used to do is, whenever he used to get any letters or mails obviously used to be letters only that time. So what he used to do is, whichever letter was marked on the external as urgent, needs a priority, he used to open those mails first, and all those other letters he used to delay them for 2 to 3 weeks, preferably for 3 weeks, because he used to think that in these 3 weeks definitely the matter would have been solved. So he does not, that does not need intervention. But all those letters which have been marked urgent, they need absolute attention at the moment. So from this technique, what we can learn is, there are many tasks, there are many work in our life which are very urgent, which are not so urgent, which are not at all urgent. So all those which are not at all urgent, and you can do about not giving them attention right now, please postpone them. Which are most urgent, please look into them right now. Which are not so urgent, you can wait 2 to 3 days till you do take any action on them. Okay, so this is what the Napoleon technique was: postponing or delaying those activities which do not need our immediate attention. Yes. Yes, so at this, with this, we'll just go to the next 2 slides. Uh, yes. Yes. So, so this slide is very straight. Set your priorities right, because if you chase two rabbits, you will lose them both. So exactly what I want to tell you all, that please, 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 whenever you are trying to be productive or whenever you are trying to do the best, please do not multitask. Please do not try to do multiple things at a time. Please do not do some urgent, some non-urgent. Take up one urgent work or take up one work that means the most to you and complete it. If we are running after different works and different directions, then maybe we'll reach nowhere. And okay, the last slide then. Yes. So I want to tell that since we learned 5 good techniques today, please put them to use and please see your productivity increase, because many a times we realize all this very late. So like it has been rightfully told, a year from now, you will wish that you had started today. So today you learn the techniques and you will think that, okay, I'll use them sometime later or someday. And then you will feel, oh, maybe I should have used it then. You will regret. So please do not regret, do not repent, and please use the techniques, whatever you have learned. I'm sure all of them will be very useful to you, and you can always start it from tomorrow itself. Since today it's almost, I mean, the day is almost gone. So from tomorrow you can start. Please keep very realistic targets. Please have a block of, let's say, a week, because we take 21 days to learn a new habit. So you can do it in a 3-phase manner. Week 1, week 2, and week 3. And please do share your results with us. How did it go for you, and how did you do, and how are you feeling? I mean, what are the changes that has occurred in your life? And we'll be so happy to know about it. So thank you. That was all for this session. Thank you so much. If we have any questions, we'll take them. Thank you.
Ma'am, can the beginning slides be run again?
Sorry?
I mean, from the starting, ma'am, can you just go through slides
The
once
first one,
again?
ma'am,
Just
the first one technique.
Oh, the first technique. Okay. The Mel Robbins technique. Yes. Swapnil ji, can you put the first slide? Okay, Mel Robbins technique is, suppose you want to start something and you are not even, you are feeling too lazy to start, or you're procrastinating too much, that, okay, I'll start from tomorrow, I'll not do it today. So Mel Robbins says, just follow this 5-second rule. What is this 5-second rule? It is just like launching of a rocket or missile. That happens exactly, it just happens in a jiffy, and then it goes off. So it is like, if you have an event, what she means is, suppose you are having a thought, like I gave the exercise example, I'll again repeat it. Suppose you have to go for exercise, you have set the alarm at 5 o'clock, and then it goes off at 5 o'clock, but then you feel too lazy and you just hit the snooze button. So she says, when you have to take that decision of hitting the snooze button or going for exercise, that window is just of 5 seconds. Your brain just waits for 5 seconds for you to decide to do something or not. If you are doing it, it's great. If you are not doing, the brain will kill that instinct. So what you have to do, you have to just take those 5 seconds, count backwards, like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and start. I mean, so the moment you say 1, you are up from the bed. You have moved up from the bed. Okay. So the moment you have moved off, you have, stepped down from the bed. Now you know that, yes, you are ready and you will not miss, your exercise class that day, or your exercise session that day. So what she says is that this is only 5 seconds, but when you are counting backwards, the excitement is much more. Like suppose you are going to an event, and all these backward counting and countdown, they create a lot of excitement in you. So similarly, when you are counting backwards in your mind, like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, so your brain is also getting excited to the idea that, yes, I'm going to do it. So all that laziness and all that procrastination, that ends, and you do that task. So this is basically the Mel Robbins technique.
Ma'am? Ma'am,
Yes.
I have a question. Although we are running late, we're running
No,
short of time.
no,
Kindly
no.
please share the story again. I was not able to hear because of technical glitch that a person, you were just narrating the story about a person who was in habit of hoarding certain things in his house. Kindly repeat the middle part of the story.
Yes, yes. I was
Thank you.
talking about the minimalistic lifestyle. So there was a person who was very addicted to shopping. He would shop, clothes and shoes and this and that. So one day he thought, then I'm having so many things, but then I hardly use them. So at least let me see how much of it is useful for me. So what he did is he packed everything from his shoes to his brush, toothpaste, to his pen and everything. He just packed everything in boxes, in those carton boxes, and the next day he started taking out whatever was required at whatever time. So let's say he woke up in the morning, he opened that carton box where he had his brush and toothpaste. Then uske baad he opened up his pen, opened up the carton where he had his pen and diary, and then his clothes and then his shoes. And then he realized after about a month that all those things he had, he used just 30 to 35% of it, and remaining everything was just in the carton as it is, and he never used them. So from this he realized that whatever you have or whatever you get, or whatever you buy, it should be something that you use on a daily basis, or else life, I mean, you need to have very minimum things to lead a good life. Okay, so that is what I was talking about, the minimalistic principle under the Pareto principle.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you
Okay,
for
thank you,
answering.
thank you, thank you. Yes.
Ma'am,
Thanks for this informative session, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
that's a
Thank you.
very good webinar, madam. It's giving an insight. Though we study cognitive psychology as a subject, but there are less some academics, very less practical. So this is very useful not only for day-to-day life, but also we can apply in our academic also. It's very practical understanding of cognitive psychology. It's become more interesting.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you.
So yeah.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
About the Napoleon.
Sorry, the voice is not audible.
About the Napoleon technique.
Thank you so much. Any more questions or anything anybody wants to say?
Ma'am, hi ma'am. It was a wonderful session, and also that like few of these techniques I've been knowing from childhood, but just now I realized like how to actually use them. Maybe I was just like knowing them as techniques, but I have never ever used them. I mean, like my parents have told me like maybe you can do this, you can do that. I was just like feeling they just wanted me to use something so that I sit for studying. But now I realize like these were like effective techniques. Maybe like instead of as you said, like instead of regretting, I'll start from today at least for the exams that's coming up. I'll prepare in the same method. Thank you
That's
so much.
very, thank you, thank you. Do start and also share your results with us.
Sure, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Yes, any more questions? Anybody wants to say anything, or else we'll close?
I think okay. I'm not seeing any questions.
Okay.
So just a reminder that if you want a certificate, then the link is there in the message, okay? Or we will put that in the group.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So with that,
The group.
thank you, Ashaji. Thank you for your
Thank you,
feedback.
ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Recording will not be available. That is the problem. Okay, so we will not be able to provide recording this time. but we are going to repeat this kind of sessions every other month. We will try to do that. Okay. All right. So I don't think we have more questions coming to us.
Yes.
So we can
I
wrap
think
up this meeting.
yes, yes, absolutely.
Ma'am,
Okay, thank
can
you everybody.
I
Huh,
share the
yes.
slide for this, ma'am?
Sorry, yes,
All
please
right.
repeat.
Thank you,
Get the
Rumana
slide.
ji.
No, somebody is saying something. Somebody is saying something. Yes, please say.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, can we get the slides so that we can just revive and revisit those slides if we forget anything out of them?
Okay, I'm not sure. I mean, Swapnil ji can say better. Maybe Swapnil, you can just discuss with the team and tell her later.
Share the PDF of those slides.
Yes. I mean, just send a personal message to Swapnil ji. He'll reply back to you.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, most welcome. Most welcome. Okay. ठीक है, Swapnil ji. We'll wrap up then.